Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me at this time. My name is Shavi Zain, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the chosen. If you find that this resonates with you in any way, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and let us know how this resonates with your circumstance. So, chosen, I want to talk to you all about the year of 2020 being the time of awakening for many of you out there. Quite a few of you awakened prior to 2020. And then there was this wave of awakening during 2020 and a little after 2020. But this was the year and time frame of awakening for many of you for quite a few reasons. The Most High, Mother and Father already anticipated the moves of the enemies. The moves of the powers that were and the tactics that they would be bringing forth at that time was already well established and understood. These beings would anticipate that 2020 would be the time of clear vision. And it's no coincidence that most people have 2020 vision in the 3D. But the issue is that too many people did not have 2020 vision in the 5D or beyond. So pretty much your spiritual eyes were closed. And so in 2020, it will be the year of all of that fogginess and all of the illusions and clouds being removed, all of the smoke screens being removed so that you could clearly see what was happening around you and why. Because this will be the time where you would awaken and you wouldn't understand. You would be very somewhat discombobulated, off balance a little bit, but just enough to have you to begin to ask questions. When you begin to awaken at that time, you started to feel very differently. You started to respond to people very differently. You started to see the world very differently. And because of this very unfamiliar energy, it would make you want to dive deeper and to research and to gain a clearer understanding of why things were just so different. What is this? What is this feeling? What are you being called to do? What are you being called to understand or to seek out? And the Most High opened up doors and made ways to ensure that you would receive those answers. 2020 specifically was a time where the powers that were understood that there would be a wave of chosen seeds that will be awakening at that time. And so they scrambled to do things to put you right back to sleep. But because the Most High awakened you either prior to 2020 or during 2020, you understood that if you allowed yourself to get in that line and to have needles placed within you, chemicals placed within your body, you understood that it was going to knock you right back out. This time would be the year that your DNA would be activated. This would be the time when you would have access to your Akashic records and that ancient wisdom passed down through your bloodline. This would be the time where you would start removing yourself from false belief systems and starting to question everything that you had learned. This would be the Great Reset. And so many of you out there are very, very favored people to be able to say that you have a clear understanding, you have clear vision in the spiritual realm and in the natural realm. You have clear insight on what's happening within you and around you. That is a gift. That is a gift that much of the world will not receive. You have a understanding that will carry you through a lot of the changes that has happened and will continue to happen. The wisdom that you've been able to obtain is going to help you to not only guide yourself and your loved ones through these changes, but also to guide others through the changes that they are going through as they continue to awaken, because we do have some people who are awakening a little late in the game. And It's not to take anything away from who they are as people. It's just to say we still have some people that's awakening. But remember, the early bird gets the worm, right? Isn't that what your grandmother always said? Your grandfather always said the early bird gets the worm. And so you have a strong advantage. The Most High definitely favored you because you was able to dodge some very poisonous things that could have corrupted you and your bloodline. But because you awakened at the right time, you are now moving forward at this very moment to where you're helping people, you're awakening others, you're teaching others, you're guiding others. You know, you've broken generational curses at this point, and you're ready to receive your inheritance. It's a lot of beautiful things that's happening for those of you who did not resist the awakening. And beautiful things are happening for you because you didn't press the snooze button. Because the fact of the matter is, it was very tempting to hit that snooze button. When you awaken and you look around and no one looks the same, everyone is moving different. Everything that you learned, you feel like you need to reset it. You have to clear it out because you're starting to see the falsehood in all of it. Every system, every TV program, everything just stands out to you times 1,000. And it's like, whoa, it's a lot of energy that's coming at you at one time. Energy that's always been there though. But because of your awareness now, you can't unsee it. And so it's very tempting to press that snooze button and to get just a little bit more time of being in the slumber, because in the sleep state, it gives you permission to stay around people that are toxic, to stay in unhealthy relationships that you know you should have left a long time ago, to continue unhealthy patterns that you know is harming you, and to continue to believe certain things because you don't have to worry about being casted out or called out for being, ungodly, as they say, right? It's tempting. And I'm sure it was tempting for many of you to try to press the snooze button, but it wasn't meant. And so because of who you are, you said, no, I'm not going to unsee this. And there were many karmic relationships that got severed at that time, right before or around that time. Like the Most High was catapulting you out of that thing. If people, because while you were awakening, the karmics that were surrounding you, they heard the alarm. They had the opportunity to get up, but many of them rejected it and refused to. And so because of that, they started acting like, like a rebellious child would act. If you don't want to get up early in the morning, you might start kicking and screaming and cutting up. A lot of those karmics begin to do just that. And so if you was with, let's just say, a karmic partner, for instance, at that time, they started really showing themselves like they couldn't keep the mask on anymore. So they would start doing things that's like, times 10 versus what they was already doing. And so, but the Most High allowed them to do that because you needed to see them, like really see them. In your sleep state, you likely just saw the surface. You saw the crying, you saw the apologies, not saying that this person wasn't toxic prior to 2020, but you might not have seen you didn't allow yourself to see all of the red flags. But when 2020 hit, or when you came into your awakening, whatever year that was, you could not unsee the wickedness and the toxicity and the low vibrational energy of these karmics that was in your life. Friendships, family members, karmic work situations, you couldn't unsee it. And the energy would be so heightened because you're very sensitive to energy now that your third eye is open. The energy would be so heightened that it would just be too uncomfortable for you to stay in the presence of those types of people or energies or certain behavior patterns or belief systems or how you thought about yourself. It would be too uncomfortable. So you started asking all those questions. What should I do? How do I need to do it? Show me how I need to move. And those of you who were, being obedient to the guidance and the intuitive nudges that you was receiving, the Most High and your spiritual team showed you how to walk up out of them situations. Or it might have been, on the other hand, they catapulted you out of those situations or removed those people from your life where you didn't have to do a whole lot. But this was a necessary time of clearing out internally and externally. And many of you made it through that very, very, very rough period. It was not easy for any of us. And so I have to tell you all, you're favored. You got a great calling over your life. Beautiful things are getting ready to happen for you if you're not already experiencing them. Balance is being restored. So I hope that this message brought you all some clarity in terms of the great reset, the year of the awakening for you, why it had to happen, and where things are going moving ahead. Because the synchronicities that you're going to continue to see are direct messages. Many of you know this by now. And many of you recognize that you was going through an awakening because of the synchronicities. Like that started coming, it was flooding you, wasn't it? You couldn't help but see particular numbers and, maybe names or different phrases, like things was hitting you left and right, because your spiritual team was going to make sure that you awaken. This was that type of alarm that the snooze button just wasn't activated. Okay, you couldn't even use the snooze button because of who you are. There are others who could, they could afford to use the snooze button largely because their purpose is not like yours. And so it's very important to recognize that you can't afford to repeat any past cycles. You, as a chosen seed, because of who you are, cannot afford to repeat certain cycles. Because if you invite certain energies back into your life, or if you pick up particular patterns that you might have had prior to awakening that was unhealthy for you, whether it was mentally, physically, emotionally, sexually, financially, whatever the patterns were, if you go back into those cycles, your judgment is far different from someone who does not have a divine calling, such as yourself. You could receive great karma. And so it's so important to learn from the past, learn from what took place when that shift and that reset was happening in your life. Learn from those past situations and understanding why you attracted those energies into your life, what needed to be healed within you so that your vibration is on a whole different setting so that you can attract new energies that keep you in a higher vibrational energy. Understanding that all of those people and belief systems and falsehoods was cleared from your space because the Most High and your spiritual team was making room for greater things. And so if you go back and clutter up that space again with a whole bunch of toxicity and low vibrational energy or low vibrational people, then the karmic lessons that comes back in for you is far greater than the average person. And so this is why it's so very important to start embracing your creative ideas. Start focusing on those things that you love so that you don't get into that state of boredom, because hermit mode for some people is very comfortable. Hermit mode for others is very uncomfortable. And so you can want to create a false sense of pleasure through temporary means that can cause long-term consequences and not the good consequences. And so it's very important to really love on yourself. Get out, get grounded, get connected to nature, embrace those unique gifts that you have, start using those gifts, start, really building on those gifts. Persevere through that time of change. I don't know where you are in your awakening stage, but push through that time of discomfort. If hermit mode for you is uncomfortable because you became codependent on the energy of others, or if you became codependent on low vibrational patterns to fulfill your pleasures in a moment because it just felt good at that time, if you was codependent on that and hermit mode is uncomfortable, you have to find another way to bring pleasure into your life that's healthy. So I hope that this message brought you all some clarity. You are divine beings out there. You have a very unique calling, and it's very important that you start embracing that and bringing that unique gift to the world, because you would not have gone through that awakening if there wasn't something very powerful and special about you that the world needs. So get ready, because remember, blessings do come in disguise, okay? And so if you don't see it now, know that it's coming, but there is a time of where you're being tested to see, are you going to run back and force yourself back to sleep? It's very difficult to go back to sleep after you awaken. You would have to literally force yourself to unsee. And even when you do that, you still can't unsee. Because if you go back into your old ways, you're going to feel the guilt. You're going to feel the shame. You're going to constantly beat yourself up about it. You're going to be consciously aware of everything that you do, to where you can no longer be a walking zombie amongst the sleeple. You will always be an awakened being amongst the sleeple. Even if you invite all of those unhealthy friends, unhealthy relationships, unhealthy family dynamics back into your life, you will always be the awakened vessel amongst the sleeple. And that is never a comfortable position to be in. So that's my message for you all. Please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know how this resonates with you, and I'll talk to you all next time.